You know what's wild? Most people visit the Caribbean thinking it's just beaches and rum punch, completely missing that these tiny islands literally changed the entire world. I'm talking about the birthplace of the only successful slave revolution in history, the roots of hip-hop, and spiritual traditions so powerful they survived centuries of people trying to erase them. This isn't just history. This is the foundation of modern culture as we know it. Let me break this down for you, because once you understand what really happened in the Caribbean, you'll never look at music, language, or even your favorite festivals the same way again. The Caribbean became the epicenter of the Atlantic slave trade, with over 6 million enslaved Africans forced onto these islands over 3 centuries. That's 15 times more than what came to the United States. These weren't just workers on plantations. They were people carrying entire civilizations in their minds, African traditions, religions, languages, and musical systems that colonizers tried desperately to destroy. But here's the thing, you can't kill culture. It adapts, it hides, it survives. Enslaved Africans couldn't practice their spiritual ceremonies openly, so they got creative. They disguised their African deities as Catholic saints, blending traditions to create entirely new religions like Vodou in Haiti, Santeria in Cuba, and Obeah in Jamaica. These weren't compromises. They were acts of resistance, ways to maintain identity and strength while appearing to comply with colonial demands. Those drumming patterns, those ritual dances, they're still alive today, woven into the reggae, calypso, and dancehall music that millions listen to without even knowing the deeper story. Then came 1791, when enslaved people in Haiti did something that shook every colonial power to its core. They won. The Haitian Revolution created the first Black republic in world history, proving that European empires weren't invincible. This victory inspired liberation movements across the entire Caribbean and beyond, sparking uprisings in Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad that eventually forced colonizers to end slavery. The fight didn't stop at independence, though. It evolved into ongoing struggles for economic justice and cultural recognition that still shape these societies today. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The African roots that survived slavery became the DNA of global culture. Reggae emerged in Jamaica as a direct expression of African heritage, mixed with calls for social justice. The Rastafarian movement amplified these values of unity and liberation, and Bob Marley became one of the most recognizable faces on the planet, decades after his death. But it goes deeper than reggae. Calypso, soca, and dancehall all carry African rhythmic complexity and storytelling traditions that comment on contemporary life while preserving historical memory. And get this, hip-hop itself wouldn't exist without the Caribbean. Kids from Jamaica and Puerto Rico brought Caribbean musical influence to the Bronx in the 1970s, mixing it with their new environment to create something revolutionary. Cuban rhythms spread through salsa and other genres, becoming part of the global soundtrack that people dance to worldwide without realizing where it came from. The Caribbean didn't just contribute to modern music, it fundamentally created entire genres that dominate charts today. Language tells the same story. Jamaican patois and Haitian Creole aren't broken English or French. They're sophisticated communication systems that blend African linguistic structures with European vocabulary. These languages emerged from necessity during slavery, carrying African tonal patterns and grammatical rules that survived despite brutal attempts at forced assimilation. The proverbs and sayings in these languages contain African wisdom traditions passed down through generations, philosophical approaches to life that descendants maintained through centuries of oppression. The cultural impact extends far beyond the islands themselves. Marcus Garvey from Jamaica inspired Pan-African movements that influenced leaders like Kwame Nkrumah and Jomo Kenyatta in Africa's fight for independence. Frantz Fanon from Martinique wrote groundbreaking works on colonialism that shaped liberation movements across multiple continents. These thinkers emerged from Caribbean experiences with slavery and colonialism, using those perspectives to challenge global systems of oppression. Small islands, massive influence. Today's Caribbean culture lives in street festivals, music venues, and daily interactions, not in museums. Carnival celebrations trace directly back to African traditions of masquerade and communal storytelling, transformed into massive public expressions of cultural identity. The food combines African cooking techniques with local ingredients, like jerk chicken, using preparation methods that enslaved people brought from their homelands or recreated from memory. Every aspect of modern Caribbean life connects back to this history of adaptation and survival. Young Caribbean people increasingly reconnect with their African roots, learning ancestral histories and building cultural bridges with African nations. Programs like Ghana's Year of Return strengthen bonds that slavery tried to permanently sever, proving that history isn't frozen in the past, but continuously evolving. Understanding this history transforms everything. That music you love, those festivals you attend, even the way certain communities speak and celebrate, all trace back to African traditions that survived the Middle Passage and colonial oppression to become foundations of modern global culture. The Caribbean's outsized impact on the world proves that resilience, creativity, and cultural pride can't be destroyed, only transformed into something even more powerful. Click on the link in the description to dive deeper into how Caribbean history continues shaping the culture we experience every single day.
Be sure to register for the book launch at sample.roguesinparadise.com.